All right, we are recording. It is episode number 2 of the Fatty Daddies Accountability Hour, or Accountability 35 Minutes, whatever it actually is. But how is everything going? How have you been since we last recorded episode number 1? Anything new, anything exciting, anything terrible? What's going on?
Jeez, yeah, no, I've been good. I would say if I was to give myself a rating for last week on an A, B, C scale, I would have given myself a solid B plus. I lifted twice. I didn't do the 3 times like I was hoping. I I missed 1 day of cardio, but that was because my foot hurt. I had my heel it felt a little bit of pain there, and there was definitely there was 1 day where I went completely off my diet, literally every meal.
Very
And
nice.
I went to help Kaylee move, and I went down to her place, and she had gotten coffee and Timbits, and I had some coffee and Timbits, and then I came home, and I had my brother-in-law and sister-in-law were over with my niece, and my wife had ordered pizza, so I had some pizza, and then I figured, well, if you're gonna wreck it, you might as well really wreck it, and I still had some Cinnabons left over from my cheat day on the Friday, and I went ham. I ate 2 of them. I ate 2 of them. Yeah, I was super proud of myself that day. But I did lift 2 days of the week, and I did cardio every day except for 1. And I actually fully intend tomorrow, which is the Saturday, I fully intend on doing a full hour of cardio to make up for the half an hour that I lost.
I have a question for you. So, say 10 years ago, because for people who don't know, what is the most weight you've ever lost intentionally?
The most weight I ever lost intentionally, I believe, was 70 pounds.
Okay. And my question would be, you seem to have a very sort of realistic attitude about going off your diet, where you are essentially saying it happened, but you're not going to beat yourself up over it. And starting tomorrow, you're going to get back into the proper way of eating, or the way that you initially wanted to eat. Do you feel like the reaction you're having now to this is the same that you would have had, say, 15 or 20 years ago?
No.
Or do you think that you would have taken something that is essentially derailing your plans and then just run with it and said, hey, well, I went off my diet on Thursday. Why don't I just stay off for the whole weekend? And a weekend turns into a week, which turns into a month, which turns into 30 or 40 pounds.
Yep. No, 100%. I had lost, as I said, roughly 70 pounds. And essentially what would happen is for a good, when I lost the 70 pounds, it was over the span of, I think, 8 to 9 months. And the reason why I lost that weight before was because I was very strict. But if I went off, on times that I shouldn't have gone off, I would thoroughly beat myself up for it. And the thing is, like you're saying, sometimes, you beat yourself up, and then, you reach your quote unquote goal. And then you're like, well, I'm here now. I can kind of do what I want, which is ridiculous. This is a lifelong pursuit, as with most things should be a lifelong pursuit. I think we live in a society that's a little bit too, the right here and now, nothing matters in the future. I don't have to do anything now for, gains in the future.
Yeah.
And now, like I truly went off. Like I had a couple Timbits with a coffee for breakfast. I had pizza for lunch, and basically had these 2 cinnamon buns late in the evening on Sunday. But the one thing, and this was actually one of the points where I kind of just realized, like I can completely derail it, and I can say, well, I'm just going to eat junk now, and I'm not going to work out, and I'm not going to do any of that stuff. But the one thing is, the way that you feel after a good workout, like when I get up in the morning, and I do my half an hour cardio, and then I go jump in the cold plunge, and then I get out, there's literally no better feeling. And as much as I love, like I love junk food. Like no one's gonna sit here. I mean, if anybody says they don't love junk food, they're lying.
Mhm.
It's not true. You can despise junk food. I despise junk food, but I love it too.
Mhm.
It's amazing. There's a reason why everybody eats it, because it's it tastes wonderful. But that feeling that, like, and it's very short term. Like you say you eat, you eat some Doritos. You eat those Doritos and they taste wonderful, and they do. They taste fantastic. And then when you're done eating, you you have about 10 minutes before you feel like abject garbage. And the problem is that you know that this is what's going to happen, but you choose instead to ignore how you feel.
Mhm.
The thing is, though, like, I completely went off on Sunday, but it made me have to get up on Monday, because I was just like, it tastes great, but I felt like crap afterwards. Like, I was like, why am I anxious? Why do I feel this, like, impending sense of doom?
It
And you
was the
realize I'm
Cinnabons.
completely sugared out, and that's something that I just completely went, no. Okay, so now the next day I'm gonna have, like, the next day I had two for lunch. I had 2 burger patties with some rice and a green smoothie, and then for dinner, I think for dinner I actually had burger patties and rice as well, with barbecue chicken as well.
Nice.
And then it's like you eat that way, and it's like you just feel so much better. And I mean, it's funny because the day before, the Sunday that I ate all that crap, I felt really, really good, because I had the whole day I ate nothing but good, healthy stuff. And you just feel fantastic, and you get enough water, and you get a good amount of sleep. And that was the other thing too. I slept like crap on Sunday, but it also, after I ate those Cinnabons, I'm like, well, I should probably go work out, because you know, I've ruined every possibility of having a healthy diet that day. And I lifted weights that night. That was the first day I lifted for this week. So
Yeah. I feel like, we both agree there's never been a workout we've done that we regretted, but I
Mhm.
cannot say the same thing about a lot of meals.
Oh,
And it's very common before you have a meal to be excited to eat some crap, to eat
right.
whatever your crap of choice is, but to eat some of that. And then very soon after you eat that, it never lives up to what you expected it, the experience to be. But then
Right.
also the residual effect of feeling sluggish and feeling tired and feeling sick or nauseous or whatever it is, whatever negative feeling. It's very rare that you eat a bunch of crap and then you somehow feel good
Sure.
afterwards. But there's been many meals where you think, I'm going to enjoy this, who cares? You eat it, and then you realize it just wasn't worth it.
No.
How tasty it was is not worth having a crap sleep and waking up feeling like you've been mummified and you're just dried out and just feeling just gross. So
Sure.
I think it's easy to kind of forget those things in the moment, but to catch it earlier, and like I was saying with, maybe 20 years ago, you would let it derail you. Now you kind of catch it in the moment and you realize I didn't enjoy that. It wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be. I need to get back to work either the same day or the following day. But from the sounds of it, you got back to work the same day by doing the upper body workout or the weightlifting workout.
Yeah, but it was more like akin to like, you know, a meth addict who, you know, just did meth and now they have to do something and they have to do it to completion, because that's, you feel like that when you eat too much sugar. You feel like it's just like something's off, you know. But the crazy thing is, on the flip side, if you eat something really healthy, like if I have like a homemade vegetable soup and a green smoothie, like when I have that, after I'm done eating that for hours, I'm like, I feel so good. I feel incredible. Like this, it's, you know, it's all really good, healthy stuff. Or if I have like, you know, chicken and rice, or if I have, you know, like a nice steak, or like a burger patty over some rice or something like that. You eat that, you feel wonderful. You feel so good, you know, and that's, you don't have that, like that crash. And that's the thing. Like I think sometimes, I mean, that's why it's funny, because on my technical cheat day, which was the Friday, I did have 2 cinnamon buns at the very end of the evening. But my meal, like my dinner and the other meals that I ate that day, were all healthy. Like I had a green smoothie. I had, I think, what did I have last Friday at work? I think it was just chicken and rice.
Right.
And then, yeah, like it wasn't until I had those Cinnabons at the very end, after I'd eaten, you know, my dinner, which was barbecue chicken and rice. Yeah, I didn't really feel too bad. But then on Sunday, I was like, well, I think I need to feel a certain, like a healthy dose of anxiety. So, and that's the thing, if you eat that stuff, you feel that afterwards. And that's why it's so puzzling to me when everyone, you know, and again, like I know we touched on this last time, and it's like, to each their own. Everybody's allowed to live the life that they want to live. But it's like, if people just for a moment tried healthy eating and regular exercise for a couple of weeks, just give it a shot. You know, if you were able to try that for a couple of weeks, there's no chance. No one, if they do it properly, which is actually just sticking to it, no one can say that they don't feel infinitely better. You know, and that's the thing. Like, I love the fact that, you know, like Joe Rogan says all the time, if you could bottle up the feeling you get from regular exercise into a pill, like you would never be able to meet the demand.
Right.
But the fact that people literally refuse to just put in the effort.
What's that saying? Everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die.
That's it. Yeah.
So
I think that
we talked about it last time. There's never a workout where before the workout you're genuinely thrilled, because a workout, sort of by its definition, is challenging and is, you know, it requires energy and work, and that's not something that's always comfortable. But the payoff is such a wonderful thing. But the lead up and the process of doing the workout, like I've been doing myself this week, I was doing the Tae Bo workout from like 1999. It is a lot more challenging than I remembered it being, but also it's 60 minutes long. So the first 2 or 3 minutes of the workout, you're just thinking like, I don't know why I'm doing this. Like, I could be doing anything else. Like, I just don't want to do this. And then by the time the workout is done, you're exhausted, but you just feel so incredible. And I feel, as weird as it is to describe it like this, you feel clean on the inside, like your blood is flowing properly, or that inflammation is reduced, or that you move with more fluidity, that you have less creaks and aches, and all these things sort of reduce or disappear altogether when you start using your body, you know, on a daily basis and doing things that are challenging. But the payoff is so enormous. You just feel so incredible afterwards. And it makes total sense. Like, if you could literally get that feeling from a pill or from a drink, a lot of people would be consuming that. But the fact that it takes 20 minutes, 40 minutes, 60 minutes of work to get that feeling, not a lot of people want to go through that work to get that feeling.
Sure.
And, again, I don't think that either of us necessarily want to go through that, but the motivation of getting that feeling on the other side is sufficient to make us go through that, 60 minutes of work or 30 minutes of work, whatever it is.
Right. 100%. No, it's 100% accurate. Like, I found that my sweet spot is around 45 minutes of cardio. Like, if I do 45 minutes of cardio, I can literally feel like everything being elevated. Like, I feel like I've got this overwhelming sense of happiness, this overwhelming sense of joy, and it's like you just feel positive, and it's hard to shake it, but if you don't, like I've had it before, and just, as recently as just a couple of weeks ago, where, I'm anxious for no reason. I'm not, I mean, this is like my first 30-day challenge that I did. This is just before that. And I had no reason to be anxious. I had no reason to be, feeling, nervous or scared or depressed or any of that stuff. But I was feeling all those things. And I really think a lot of times, and it's like everyone, nowadays, and I'm pretty sure I'll get, torched for saying this, but everyone nowadays is just like, oh, I'm anxiety ridden. I just have so much anxiety. I have so much, and it's like, well, what are you doing? Like, are you moving around? Are you walking around? Are you, getting on your bike? Are you, playing basketball? Are you doing the elliptical? Are you lifting weights? Are you going swimming? Are you doing any of these physical activities? And 9 times out of 10, they'll be like, I don't have time for that.
Yeah.
And it's like, there's a saying, and I love the saying because, it says, if you're feeling stressed out, anxious, and depressed, you should meditate once a day. And if you don't have time to meditate once a day, you should meditate 2 times a day. You know what I mean? And it's just like, everyone, like, the amount of people that say to me, I don't have time, but then you find out they watch 2.5, 3 hours of Netflix every night. And I'm not above it. I love going on a nice Netflix binge.
Netflix
started
is so much sweeter when you've done 30 minutes or 60 minutes of something.
it.
And you go, maybe I could be doing something a little more productive with this remaining time, but with the time I already had, I did do something productive, so I don't feel so bad about this.
That's it, and it's like, I just, and I think this is part of our upbringing, but it's like, I love snacking, but it's like, even that, like, if I work out and then I'm gonna watch a movie and just kind of chill out and maybe have some snacks. Before, it would be like I'd be reaching for the bag of Doritos and the bag of Reese's Pieces. Now I'll grab some cashews and some pistachios, and if I'm feeling really crazy, I'll have a protein bar. And that's the thing. I know the stuff that I'm eating now is much better than what I was eating before. And also, the other thing is too, like, you even, like, last night. So I had some cashews last night, and I had maybe a third of a cup of cashews, and I stopped myself because I was like, I don't need any more. It was nice to have something to chew on, to have something to munch on, but I don't need any more. I'm good. Whereas before, it would be like, oh, that it's going to be a challenge to get to the bottom of that, family sized bag of Doritos.
Right.
And I'm not going to stop until I'm done because I'm proving a point. And you start to ask yourself, you're like, well, what the hell point am I proving? Like, this makes no sense. Why am I trying to, I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of that comes back to, I don't know, like, it tastes so good. you know. And if you're already feeling anxious and stressed out, and you know you're feeling depression, it's so easy to just get stuck in that cycle where you just keep eating garbage, not exercising, not getting sufficient sleep because you just, you've eaten a bunch of chips and pop, and then it's like you're caffeine and sugared up and you can't get proper sleep, and then you go to the doctor and you say I can't sleep, and they give you medication for that, and so you come home and you take that medication, but you're still eating garbage, you're not exercising. So there's just, it's, I don't know, you just, people get suckered, I think, getting into this idea that it's like
I
this is
feel like
just the
everything's
world.
beyond their control and that it's always of a biological basis. And that's not
Right.
to say that, I mean, some people are genuinely dealing with,
Oh, for sure.
issues that are of a biological basis, but have you exhausted all other avenues to
Hmm.
sort of alleviate those symptoms or alleviate the condition that you have? And like you were saying with, you have this like weird sense of anxiety. I remember listening to Faraz Zahabi talk about fighters and how he, could have guys that would have had, years and years of martial arts training, but on the way out to the ring, they would be full of anxiety. They were very
Yeah,
anxious. They had that sort of stage fright, performance anxiety. I got to do well. I'm going to be fighting another person. So I'm, feeling this natural and understandable level of anxiety. But he would say that he never had a fighter anxious going into the second round. And he said that most anxiety is just trapped energy, that you've got
sure.
all this energy sort of built up and you don't know how to process it effectively. And exercise is an excellent way to do that. And when you're out fighting with someone, that's that's a lot of exercise. And
Sure.
then going into the second round, you just don't seem to have it anymore because you've processed it, sort of gotten rid of it, and doing something like a cardio workout or a strength training workout, or really any workout for that matter, you just feel better afterwards. You just don't seem to have the negative emotions. Like I was doing the Tai Bo. I don't even remember the negative thought, but I had one pop into my head in the middle of the workout.
Right.
But it's extremely difficult to maintain that negative thinking when your legs are on fire and your stomach's on fire and your shoulders are on fire. You
Sure.
forget all about all these other things because you're so focused on sort of the sensations in your body that, for me, I think there's almost nothing better for my mental health than doing something like that, because in the time that you're exercising, there's just nothing else. It's like a very, mindful experience. You're in the moment. You're feeling these feelings. You've got the, your heart's beating and your lungs are burning and your muscles are on fire, but everything just sort of falls away in that moment. And I think it's extremely difficult to maintain sort of any negative mindset when you're in the middle of squats or you're in the middle of, you know, a boxing workout or whatever it is. Anything you're doing that tires you out, it's just, you're just so focused on that thing that you forget about everything else.
Sure. And while we're on that subject, because you said you were starting Taibo last week, so let's hear it. How was your week? What did you get up to? What would you grade yourself on? What would you feel you could do better? What did you feel you did really good?
I feel, for me, I would give my overall, I think, very similar, like a B plus. I
Mhm.
wasn't perfect during the week. I wasn't terrible. I got 2 jujitsu. I call them workouts, but I mean it's a 90-minute jujitsu class. So 2 of
Sure.
those.
That's a
I
workout.
did a sandbag workout.
Right.
I did 3 of the Taibo Advanced. Those are 60 minutes each. So over the last week, 6 days where I was physically active, and then today my body is telling me to chill out and take a day off. So I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna take a day off. I went for, I think, like a 2-hour walk today. Every day I walk around 2 hours, so that's,
Sure.
7 days a week for me. But in terms of exercise, I'm very satisfied with the results and with what I did. In terms of my eating, it could always be tightened up. It could always be better. I
Hmm.
feel just naturally now I have less of an appetite. I feel like I'm gravitating more towards healthier options, better food choices. And I do find that the more sort of whole foods that I'm eating or focusing on eating, I just can't finish it. Like I was hungry, so I made 7 soft-boiled eggs.
Yeah.
And I remember by the 5th one, I just put the other ones in the fridge. I was
Right.
just thinking to myself, like, I have zero hunger now. It would be stupid to even continue trying to finish these. But
Sure.
you think about the volume of 5 eggs versus, again, I could eat 3 hamburgers, fries, and a drink. You know what I mean? Like, that's substantially more in volume, but when you eat just these whole foods, whether it's eggs, whether it's meat, whether it's dairy, nuts, vegetables, fruits, any of these things, they
Right.
just seem to have a very favorable effect on your appetite and how much you want to eat. And you also just, when you feel genuinely satisfied and satiated from the food you eat, there's just no desire to eat anything else. Like, if you
Exactly.
eat something to the point where your body's like, you can't have 7 eggs, 5 is good. I'm not
Sure.
thinking, you know what, I could go for some chocolate chip cookies. Like, I don't want
Right.
to eat anything after that. And I think that that's so effective, is just focusing on the foods being as close to their natural form as possible. I think it's silly to think that we'll never eat anything processed, because it's very difficult to find, certain things that don't have multiple ingredients or that were, made somewhere. But I think if you
Sure.
can try to maintain, 80% of the time eating healthier options, you just, it almost becomes, you don't even have to think about it. You just don't have to think like, I need to make sure that you almost need to think you make sure you're getting enough calories, because if you're eating those proper sort of whole foods, the appetite kind of disappears and you just don't have the desire to eat, unbelievable amounts of food.
It's true. Yeah. Like, I mean, to be completely honest, like if you ever if you're ever wondering how much you should actually be eating, um, roast up some carrots and onions with some salt and pepper with a bit of olive oil or butter. Roast those up and then try and eat a full bowl of them. Like, you're going to get halfway through that and your stomach's just going to go, no,
Yeah.
no. What do you mean you're going to try and eat more? And that's the thing. If you eat real whole foods, and whether that's fruits, veggies, um, you know, rice and potatoes to an extent,
No, rice and
um,
potatoes are whole foods. That's a whole food.
for sure. I just mean, like, in terms of, like, because if you, like, for instance, like, I can cut up 10 potatoes and turn them into French fries, and
Yes.
I'll eat those 10 potatoes.
But if
You know
you're
what I
eating
mean?
a
Like,
baked potato or roasted potatoes, you will eat a reasonable amount. I think that you will
right.
eat, your body has a natural ability to regulate how much you consume. And I think processed foods and, high sugar foods, and there's certain foods that sort of dysregulate that. And
Mhm.
it sort of prevents you from having a proper response. And then you just eat and eat and eat. And that's why you feel sick afterwards, because you would have never eaten, you know, 2 pounds of blueberries or 2 pounds of apples,
Right.
but you could eat like 2 pounds of, French fries and, a Philly cheesesteak sandwich.
Exactly. Easily. You know, and that's the thing. So, and I mean, realistically as well, like, the only reason I could eat 10 potatoes turned into French fries, it's not actually because of the potatoes, it's because of the ketchup.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're gonna dip those fries in ketchup. I don't think I can eat just 10 pounds of fries, like, even with salt.
Yeah. I don't think,
I
I think
don't
that
think I
you'd
could
have a
do it.
lot of trouble.
But yeah, no, I think that it's like, if you have things, and in proportion too, like, that's the one thing I think that, the last lie that I really, told myself that I believed for a while was that, well, no, you can eat kind of whatever you want as long as you're eating um, healthy stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But you can overeat any of that stuff easily,
100%.
And so I've been very cognizant of my portion sizes. Um, I've been very cognizant about making sure that I'm having a green smoothie every day. I've been very cognizant about making sure that I'm doing my cold plunge every day. As I said, I missed a day there for both my cardio and cold plunge. But the truth is, as long as I don't know, as long as I'm doing all of the habits that I'm trying to build up, on a consistent basis, I think that I'll be good. Like I think, and I'll say this now. So one of my next goals. So I'm on the second part of still just in the first 15 days, but doing a 30-day challenge, cardio every morning, plus at least twice a week weights. I'm trying for 3. I would like to get to 3 because the next challenge, what I want to do is I have the Arnold Schwarzenegger Encyclopedia of Modern Bodybuilding, and I think that I want to try out some of Arnold's workouts because I think that I don't know if there was one person you'd want to listen to when it came to that. Arnie might be one of the guys.
Yo, do you think Arnie was on steroids?
Oh, he admitted it.
Okay.
He's admitted it in plenty of interviews.
Okay. I mean, I know that we had that book in our. Did Mom and Dad get that for us, or when did we get that book?
Yeah,
I know
Dad
you
got
have like
that
a
for
new
us when
copy of it, but we had that growing up.
Yeah, that it's that copy.
Okay.
I took it.
Beef.
Yeah, no.
What sort of workouts? Like, have you looked into which ones you want to do, or like what is sort of the goal of these workouts?
So it's his whole regime. Like he has a 6-day routine where he does he works out for like it's 6 days straight lifting weights and then 1 day of rest. And I think when I do that, I think I'm going to alter some of the foods I'm eating to more protein heavy, just because I think that's a good idea. I've purchased some protein powders. I have protein bars. I have creatine. I think I'm going to take creatine along with obviously my vitamins. But yeah, it's I think that'll be the next step, and I'm going to continue to do cardio in the morning, and then I'll lift when I'm home. So I think that's my next habit that I want to put in.
Is there anything that's preventing you from doing 3 weight workouts a week, or is it just you enjoy the schedule you've got currently?
Pretty much that.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, realistically, I should have done, or I still should. I should do tonight. But because
for everyone who doesn't know as well, you have essentially a full gym in the basement of your house. You have the total gym. You have a bench with dumbbells and kettlebells. You have a gym quality elliptical machine. You have the BioForce. You have a Bob punching bag. Like I've got a good amount
more
than anything. You've got literally everything you need and more. So it's I think it's one thing if you had to commute 20-30 minutes to the gym and it was sort of conflicting with certain schedules and stuff like that. But I think the fact that it's just down into the basement, it sort of gives you that flexibility and that ability that maybe some other people don't have.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's the other thing too. Like when I say I really don't have an excuse, like I genuinely don't. I don't have an excuse. And the thing is, my home gym is literally in the basement. It's right next to my man cave, and I've got a massive 120-inch screen and a projector. It's attached to, I can watch movies, I can listen to music, but my Bella and I the other day, we put on, this is last Saturday, we put on a motivational video, an hour-long motivational video. Oh, that's the other thing too. We got the new rebounder.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so she completed her 30-day challenge, and we bought the rebounder. I put it together the day it came.
Have you jumped on it?
Oh yeah, that's wonderful. I was actually right before we were on this call. I was jumping on that and watching The Last Dragon.
Oh, it's the greatest thing in the world, man.
Yeah, it's great. So it's right there. But we still have the other rebounder, and I was thinking we would keep that in case Dawn and Bella wanted to do workouts at the same time, and Dawn didn't want to use the elliptical machine. But we're we've got a nice little setup here. So it definitely, I don't have an excuse when it comes to like lifting. But yeah, so I was reading up on some of his protocols, and I thought,
Why
I
not?
should give it a shot. Yeah, why not try? Now, obviously, I'm not on steroids, nor do I have any interest in steroids at the moment. I do think, though, I think that when you look at what it does for guys that are maybe in their 50s or 60s, I think it's worth taking a look at.
I feel like TRT might. I don't know about anabolic steroids at that age, but
not anabolic steroids, but like like testosterone replacement and HGH.
And my gripe too, and again, I'm saying this, it probably seems almost insensitive, but most of the people who are doing TRT have not tried like natural ways. Like they're probably not lifting weights. They're probably not getting enough sleep. They're probably not getting enough sunlight. They're probably not eating the proper things. They're probably not doing all the things they could do to naturally maximize their testosterone.
Agreed.
We just live in, and again, we've all fallen victim, and I'm not above this. Nobody is, but we live in this sort of instant gratification society where, I'd rather just take an injectable or go see my doctor and have some, cream rubbed on my body that makes my testosterone go up versus, putting in a little bit of work. And, again, if it works for you and that's what you want to do, I'm not going to tell you no. I'm not going to stand in anybody's way. It's none of my business. But I think that so many of us could achieve so much more naturally than we even think we could. And we have so much more capabilities than we give ourselves credit for. But a lot of us will never know that because we don't give ourselves the opportunity to prove it to ourselves.
Sure. No, and I couldn't agree with you more. It's very true. It's very true.
Because I remember at the beginning when I was losing weight, I was like, man, like there's something wrong with me. There's, why am I not able to lose weight? It's like, maybe it's because you're not doing anything proper. Maybe it's because you're eating a bunch of crap. You're not getting a lot of sleep. You're not exercising almost at all. You're not doing anything for more than a couple days and then just quitting. If you actually do something for, 2, 3, 4 months, consistently with your eating, with your sleep, with your hydration, with your food, with your workouts, it's almost impossible to not see some sort of results. But I think that we can delude ourselves and be like, oh, I'm special and unique, and there's something about me that prevents me from getting, these results that other people are able to get easily.
Right. And that's the other thing too. Like it's very easy to look at your situation and say, that, like you're saying, like, there's something wrong specifically with me. And it's like, yeah, there is, but it has nothing to do with your genetics. It has nothing to do with anything other than something as basic as just discipline.
Yeah.
You're not disciplined. And like anything, discipline takes discipline.
I mean, Arnold said it, you lack discipline.
Yeah.
I mean, if Arnold said it, it's true.
Well, obviously, there's nothing Arnold's ever said that wasn't true. Especially like in, the scene where in the movie The Running Man, where he was in a fight with a guy named Buzzsaw, who he ended up using. He ended up getting Buzzsaw's chainsaw off of him and cutting him in half. And when he ran away, the lady that was next to him, she said, "Where did Buzzsaw go?" And Arnold, in true fashion, true form, says, "He had to split."
Nice. That's yeah. That was the 80s. That was the 80s. Just
words
all
to live
the one-liners.
Words to live by,
Yeah.
I watched Tango and Cash recently.
The high five at the end.
It's pretty there's some pretty brutal parts in there.
Oh,
like
man.
It's great, don't get me wrong, but there's some stuff where you're like, whoa, that's it's pretty cheese.
Yeah.
Layered on pretty thick.
Man. Well, yeah, what are your plans? So this week, what are you going to be doing differently? What's going to improve? A lot less Cinnabons, hopefully.
Yeah, no Cinnabons, no Cinnabons. I do have 2 in the freezer, but they're in the freezer. They can stay in there for another couple weeks before I really need one. I think, you know what? I think my main thing this week is just to keep consistent with all of the habits that I want to have consistently in my life. So that's cardio first thing in the morning, straight into the cold plunge, having a liter of green smoothie every day, lifting weights 3 days in the next week, getting sufficient sleep, drinking at least 3 liters of water a day, making sure that at all my meals it's whole foods, good healthy whole foods. And if I do break into having snacks or whatever, it's going to be things like cashews or pistachios or a protein bar or a protein shake. um and that's basically it. It's just making sure that all of the things that I want to have in that week are accounted for and done correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because I had a B+ week in the last last week. I think that my goal for this next week is to have like a proper A+, where nothing gets missed. There's no like, oh, I decided to go to Baskin Robbins and eat, a couple pints of ice cream. It's just eating healthy, getting the exercise I need to get, getting the sleep I need to get, and making sure that I'm, doing my cold plunges and, meditation and just stuff like that, so that, that I'm performing optimally with literally the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the other thing too. If you don't, something will start to lag. It always inevitably does. And there's a lot of people out there that is, whether they don't want to acknowledge it or whether they don't realize it, your life is going to be affected negatively by skipping the things that you're supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you do what's hard, your life will be easy. But if you do what's easy, your life will be hard. And I think that's something that I tell my kids that all the time. Nothing in life that's actually worth having is not going to come at zero cost.
Mm-hmm.
It always comes with a cost. Now, what that cost is, that's up to you. I mean, if you want to be healthy, you need to work out every day. If you want to be healthy, you need to eat healthy. You need to eat, good quality whole foods. You need to get a lot of sleep. You need to drink enough water, all of that stuff. So it's, I think that's, my week this week. I want an A+ week. I want to, maybe even go above and beyond what I would kind of deem regularly as just a good week.
Mm-hmm.
What about yourself?
I think, I think it's just about having the habits that I've got right now, the workouts that I was able to get done. 6 days of workouts was pretty awesome. And then just making sure that I'm eating the things that I'm supposed to be eating, really just sort of tightening that up, because I think with any of this stuff, obviously you can take some time off, you can take, a day off a week and kind of eat whatever you want. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But I think there is something about, like you're saying, where if you do everything you say you're going to do, there is zero regret about those, days where you can eat whatever you want. Like having a cheat day doesn't feel bad if you've just had 6 super productive days. And,
right.
Within reason, it's not like on the cheat day, you're literally going to just eat food for the 24 hours and undo the progress of the last 6 days. But
like what I did last Sunday.
But even with that, like I know that you say that facetiously, but I think a lot of people, one of their big issues is if they're not perfect, they stop altogether, and they
Sure.
think, you know, I missed a workout, I'm not going to work out this week, and then it's always postponed till some later date or later time. I'll just start on Monday. I'll do it again this weekend or whatever. And I think it's so easy to kind of fall into that, and I've done that for years in my life where I would have a plan, I would try to implement that plan, it didn't work out, and then I would just postpone the start time to some point in the future.
Sure.
And I think that's a terrible idea because that future day often never comes. So
Sure.
you need to just make the decision. If I screw up, I remember hearing there's an author, Gretchen Rubin, and she has an idea of just dividing your days, or at least your waking hours, into quarters. So if you screw up something within the first 3 hours or 4 hours of your waking day, you still have 3 other quarters where you can make it right. So,
Sure.
you know, everyone's saying, you know, you screw up on a Wednesday, I'll do it on Monday. And that is what it is. If you actually start again on Monday, good for you. Then there's some people who will say, I screw up on Wednesday, I'll start again on Thursday. But I do think it's best to say, I screwed up in the morning, I'll start again now. I'll start doing the thing proper now. So you don't waste an entire day, you know, because you made a mistake or because you did something you didn't want to do, or you weren't up to some ideal that you had sort of set for yourself. So I think just having like a healthy attitude when it comes to your response to perceived failure or perceived setbacks will determine your long-term success. And I think that's something that I've really worked on over the last year was, even if things aren't going as well as I would like them to, or if I've, you know, slowed down or I haven't done things up to my standard, if I can get back into it sooner and then start again, long term, I will have the success I want. I mean, like you said earlier, this isn't, we're going to lose the weight and then we can go back to eating whatever the heck we want. It's lose the weight and keep it off permanently. But how do you do that with realistic habits and also with a realistic mindset? So I think just sort of adjusting the way you think about things and changing your perception will change, you know, how you react to everything. And then when you can have that under control, you don't have these crazy binges or, you know, weeks with no exercise and just eating garbage all the time. So I think for me, just get the workouts in, eat healthy, you know, get my sleep. I've been really trying to drink a gallon of water every day.
That's awesome.
You know, I'm just feeling a lot better. When I feel better, I'm more motivated to continue. And then the more I continue, the better I feel. And it's sort of this upward cycle of positivity and goodness. So I think that I'm on that upward trajectory right now. I suspect you are as well, because, you know, even when you have these setbacks, you're not letting it knock you down. You're just saying, you know, I didn't live up to my standards, but tomorrow I got back to it. And then if you kept that attitude and sort of that approach for life, this would never be a problem again, no matter what, because you would just quickly readjust and recalibrate to what you should be doing, and then you would get it done.
Right. No, 100%. 100%. And that's that's the name of the game. That's the goal, right?
Yeah. Well, I think that about covers it. It's Friday night. Go do your thing. I have dinner waiting for me, so I will see you and everyone who's watching. I think there was 27 last week. Oh my gosh, we've gone viral.
Amazing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, enjoy your night.
We've gone, we've gone completely viral. It's amazing.
Yeah.
What are you going to do with your newfound found fame there, Quinn?
Oh my gosh, I don't even know if I can leave the apartment. There's just everyone's out there waiting for me.
Yeah, like the other day I went in to get gas, and this woman said, "Aren't you?" And I said, "Get out of here!" And I ran out as quickly as I could.
Lady.
Yeah, I screamed at her.
Yeah, that's the way you should do it. Why not? All right,
for sure. Well, let's have a good evening, and thanks for everyone for watching, and we will see you guys next week.
See you then.
Bye-bye.